emphasize that we're really looking at is not raising property taxes for the next 4 years and keeping them flat. And they also promised to work in collaboration with all 7 municipalities to create a strategic plan to run Avon as a successful township. Also, I pledge to partner with businesses and community organizations to ensure that Avon Township maximizes the budget to benefit our residents. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Douglas. Now, I have to say there are quite a few questions for the supervisors. Being that there's only one, I'm going to give them to you. And I just ask that you speak for yourself and perhaps not denigrate the other candidates. So, the annual salary for Avon supervisor is $71,000, although it will decrease by 3% in the next term. The administrator, which we've already encountered here, is created so that the supervisor need not be at work full-time while still receiving full-time compensation. Both candidates have indicated they would work full-time. As such, do you plan to keep the administrator position, and if so, why?
Well, let me start by answering that yes, I will be a full-time township supervisor. I currently own my own insurance brokerage, and I also work with the University of Illinois Extension 4-H program. And I also partner with Family Service, which provides health care to seniors. I will no longer be doing those things because I do agree that the township supervisor is a full-time position. There's many things that need to get done. Pledging to create a strategic plan with partnering with all 7 municipalities, that's going to be encompassing, and Mayor Soto is going to be the first person to approach. But so that in itself is a task. The other part is if we're going to do economic development with the 7 villages, that's a full-time task. So yes, I will pick up more of the responsibilities, but at the same time, I think that Dave does a good job. I think that with the trustees and the municipalities, when we come up with a strategic plan, then we can decide, okay, do we have more work for him to do, or for the township, or not? Yeah.
Okay, we're going to stick to money issues. They seem to be hot tonight, so especially for the supervisor. Avon Township provides a transportation service for seniors who cannot drive themselves, have no way of getting around. However, reservations for the service must be made at least 2 weeks in advance, putting a hardship on seniors whose commitments come more rapidly. What is your plan to fix the situation so that the service is more responsive to seniors' needs?
So we're referring to the Northwest Lake County Transportation Demonstration Program. It's currently funded through the Regional Transportation Authority through a federal grant. So that federal grant, I think, runs out in about 2 years, and then it has to be self-sustaining. So that's where, with the trustees and myself and the community, we can partner and say, what should the bus service be? What services should be delivered? And what's the time frame? Because right now the biggest complaint is that it ends at 2 o'clock and it's really available till 6 p.m., but why do we do that? So I think that, again, with the other group voice, I agree with them, that it has to be partnerships and ask the villages, what do you view as far as this service and amenities for your senior residents? And then we can take it from there.
Okay, Doug. Another question. The Avon Community Foundation, a 501c3 entity, runs the Avon Food Pantry. It is a separate and distinct organization from the Avon Township government. There has been some talk about placing either the food pantry itself or the foundation under the direct control of the township government. If you were elected, what is your position and plan for this relationship and why?
Currently, the Avon Township Food Pantry is considered a food pantry of last resort. It's an emergency food pantry. So in order to keep that designation and receive up to 10,000 pounds of free food a month, it has to be run by a 501c3, which is the Avon Township Community Foundation. I would continue that, and actually that would be the way that we could also do grant writing and fund some youth services, senior services for the unemployed. Those things have to be partnered with the 501c3, and we do have it, but we've only utilized it for the food pantry, but their charter is broad enough that we could do it for fundraising and grant writing, which is a huge thing that we're going to do to bring in new services, but leave property taxes flat for the next 4 years.
Okay, Dallas, another question, please. How would you maximize the tax dollars that Avon Township receives?
Great question. I think that the township has been, there hasn't been a vision there what the township can be, and most of the conversations I've had door to door with residents have been in correlation to that. My feeling is that the township really is here to provide certain amenities to the 7 municipalities that will enhance actually property values, for example. If we have good senior services, if we have good youth services, if we have services for the unemployed so that they can become employed again, then we're actually building up, in my estimate, property values, because no one wants to purchase a home when there's high unemployment. Youth programs are important to people, and seniors, if they're retiring in our communities, I'd rather they stay here than move away because they can't afford the property taxes. So anything that the township can do to possibly increase property values, which the assessor can attest to this, the reason that our tax rates are so high because they're inversely proportional. As market values go down, tax rates shoot up. As soon as market values start going up, you'll see a drop in tax rates, but we need amenities that'll do that and raise market values.
Okay, Doug, why have you filed 2 homestead, I am assuming they meet exemptions, for Hanksville and Chicago?
Yeah, and I do apologize for that, and if everybody sitting in this room can attest to, once you file for them, you get them renewed every year, and it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. We owned a property in Chicago since 1996, so it's just something that kept rolling over. You don't apply for it every year, it just rolls over. I'm accountable for it. It was just like, well, you never think about it because it just renews. So we're working with the Cook County Assessor to pay any late fees or penalties because I am accountable, and it's just something that never came to mind when we moved out here because it just rolls over as it does with everybody, and you don't apply for it annually, it's just, it's given to you. So I am accountable, and I do apologize, but it certainly wasn't done with malice.
Okay, another question, please, sir. What are your top 3 priorities for Avon Township with elected supervisor?
Partnerships, 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 because we have 3 years of reserves, for example. Should it be us, the only ones that come up with the priorities of how to spend that down? I think that the municipalities, one of the biggest things we've heard from the business community, for example, is if you could help us market the existing commercial base that we have, like in downtown Grays Lake, downtown Round Lake Park, downtown Round Lake, that's something that I could do as a full-time supervisor. I mean, I do cold calls now to get customers for the insurance brokerage. I could certainly do it to bring businesses to the area. The other part is that bringing in new businesses also will lower the tax rates because you're sharing the property taxes also with businesses. So right now, we need more businesses to absorb more of the property taxes. So that's a huge part. And then the other part is really writing grants for youth programs, senior programs, and for the unemployed. For youth program, we have a gang activity in the Round Lake area. Minimal, but it's still enough to hurt property values and people's perception of the area. We need, I'm a big 4-H guy. Why not have 4-H? Why not have youth community farms and so forth? It's just, we need to keep our youth busy during the summertime.
And last question, please. What is your overall evaluation of the services the township currently provides, and their effectiveness?
Not very much. I'm one of those people that rather ask for forgiveness than permission. I think that we have the ability to provide more services than we have. They certainly can't be based on property taxes, but writing grants for, like we mentioned, youth services, seniors. My mom lives with me. We're always looking for some way to really bring more services to her. There's corporations and foundations that will fund those type of services. The unemployed, for example, that come to the food pantry, how do we impact that number to lower it? Well, what does it cost to have quarterly job fairs that we could bring them? Bring your resume, hopefully we'll link you with an employer at one of those quarters. The other part is if you need workforce development, let's refer you to the county or to nonprofits. But those are the type of things that we don't provide right now, and they certainly can't be based on property taxes, but there's enough grant money for corporations and foundations that as a full-time supervisor, I would certainly write grants and to help interns that could come in and help me write those grants. But right now, we're focused on not being repetitive, and we do nothing for the commercial area. I could be marketing our commercial areas as a full-time supervisor and bringing in new businesses in partnership with the mayors.
And just when you think you finished, there's one more thing to do.
No
So, is there anything that can be done with Lake County Trans Project at the same time as the Washington Street Road widening project, Highland Lake Sub especially, and I hope you understand that question.
No, can you read it again? Okay.
Yeah, it has to do with questioning what can be done with the Lake County Transit project at the same time of the Washington Street Road widening project. And then mentions Highland Lake sub especially.
You know, I don't mind answering the question, I just didn't get the full, are we referring to the senior, the PACE bus?
No.
I think they're referring to the widening of Washington Street.
Okay.
How it's going to impact Highland Lake.
Well, you know what? If you think you know, I might save it for the highway commissioners.
You know, the one thing I can tell you is that I won't answer things just to give you an answer, and I don't have an answer for that one because it's a county issue, so I really don't have a good answer for it.
Okay, well, we'll just lay that aside then, and we thank you very much. That was a long string of questions, and we appreciate your responsiveness. So, next, we're going to move on to the assessor's position here. We have one person here. So we'll hear what they have to say. As you know, the township assessor is your liaison to the chief county assessment office, and they provide professional help on your real estate assessments and exemptions, any that are available for homeowners in Lake County. There are two people running for this seat. And contrary to what I said about the voted-in new office holders taking their seats on May 20th of this year, the assessor's term runs from January 1st, in this case of 2014, until December 31st of 2017. It's still about a 4-year term, but this is according to state law. So anyway, and I'm sure you know this, those running for the assessor. So tonight we have Wayne George Flaherty, and Wayne, if you've got an opening statement, we'd sure like to hear it.
Yes, hello, Wayne George Flaherty. Actually, I go by my middle name, George. It's been that way forever. I'm with the Avon Strong team. I'm a lifelong resident of Grays Lake. My family's lived in different municipalities in Avon Township for over 100 years. I'm a single father with full custody of 2 children. I have a daughter who attends the University of Illinois, and a son who is looking forward to graduating 8th grade, getting in high school. I have a volunteer coach through the Grays Lake Park District for 11 years. I've coached everything from flag football to basketball to my favorite sport, ball. I'm committed to the challenge of bringing the Avon Township Assessor's Office to the standards and expectations that the taxpayers desire and deserve. I would do this by creating fair, equitable, and accountable assessed values using sound appraisal principles on all properties in the township. The improvements to the assessor's office would benefit both taxpayers and the taxing bodies. My goals for the assessor's office are to improve public relations, financial control, and making sure that I have well-trained personnel. I will take a hands-on approach to this job, being involved in the day-to-day operations. I look forward to the challenges of being the assessor, the added responsibilities, the advancement of my career, and becoming a public servant. Avon Township and the taxpayers deserve a full-time, qualified assessor committed to the job. I am that person.
Okay, thanks, George. I've got some questions for you. Could you explain what experiences and training you have to be an assessor for the township?
I've actually been a deputy assessor with Lakeville Township since 2008. I got my certifications and qualifications in 2009. And you know, there's nothing more, especially in a job like the assessor, it's such a unique position. There's nothing more than actual hands-on working in the field, so to speak. I know that previous jobs I've held were nothing like working in the assessor's office. But it's actually kind of a funny story because I was not a full-time employee of the assessor's office when I was first offered to work there. But I actually decided when a slot opened up for a full-time position, and it was offered to me.